Hello, everybody. My name is CurlyBardock, and welcome back to another Showtime Nerds video. We are back to discuss probably one of the most polarizing / craziest movies that came out this summer, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm here with my lovely co-hosts. I'm with Grimo,
Presente.
Ralph, aka Yes,
Yes.
Lewis, aka NovaNuclear,
Boom.
and
Did he
I
just
am.
make an hold on? Did he just make an explosion sound?
I heard "voom"
Boom,
like a
boom.
Lightning McQueen ka-chow. And then,
Ka-chow.
of course, we have our special intern, the secretary at the front of our office, the main man that doesn't take care of mostly anything,
I don't
Zachary.
even pick up
Well,
calls.
that's kind of harsh.
Yeah, you actually
Never
don't
gonna
pick
stop
up
it.
calls. We have like 23 missed calls.
They schedule
You did
something,
not
they're
call
like,
me 23 times.
No, I'm saying in the
he
front
could-
desk, you have not picked up 23 calls.
Oh.
You're like fucking Patrick at the Krusty Krabs. Like, hey, is this Showtime Nerds? No, this is Zachary. He fucking hangs up. But boys, we are here to talk about Multiverse of Madness. And yeah, Grimm, why don't you give us just a brief summary of what this movie is about?
Okay, listen up. Right. So first, it starts with a different Doctor Strange from a different multiverse, and a great character called America Chavez. And so they're fighting a big beast with one eye, no name, fuck them. And they travel into this open source place that has a book, and the book is called the Book of Ashanti. This is the book that will give the powers of any sorcerer an enough boost in order to beat any foe. The problem is the monster gets to Doctor Strange and America Chavez. So, in a leap of faith, Doctor Strange tries to kill America Chavez, but then she travels into our reality, 616. Through this, her adventures goes on to find our Doctor Strange, which at first doesn't believe in the multiverse and all of that. But then we find out that apparently through Wong, the multiverse is real, and so is the Book of Vashanti. So they go into an adventure on trying to stop the evil creatures. One of the first people that they pick up to try to help them stop it is Wanda. Problem is, turns out Wanda is one of the people looking for America Chavez to take her powers. So now we find out that Wanda's the villain, and the only way to stop her is to try to get the Book of Ashanti, which Wanda is securing with other creatures. So this is where the whole multiverse of madness things goes on, and together they accidentally travel the multiverse because America Chavez, every time she gets scared, she travels through dimensions. And so they go through different dimensions. We see some goofy and funny frames. We see a whole different changes. You know, the casual across the Spider Verse type of visuals. And bam, they end up in a different universe where they're looking for their Doctor Strange, but turns out that Doctor Strange was super evil and he was part of the Illuminati. The Illuminati was not fucking with with our Doctor Strange because they were used to a Doctor Strange that was pure evil. So they decided to enslave, well, not enslave, but like and captured both of them. Doctor Strange's like, yo, listen, she's gonna kill all of you. They didn't listen. Matter of fact, she killed all of them, just like he said. Then they somehow managed to escape. They go into a different reality, in a different world. They go through that whole adventure of finding their Doctor Strange. They find out that there's another reality where there's a Doctor Strange that is evil, but he wants to do good. The problem is he doesn't want to give up the book. Doctor Strange fights Doctor Strange in this very confusing fight of who's who, but we know who's who. And after our Doctor Strange wins, he gets the book, the Darkhold, which is the opposite of the Vashanti. This one gives you complete negative energy and corrupts your soul. He uses that book to what they call dream jumping or something like that.
Dreamwalking.
He dream walks, and he dream walks into his other the other Doctor Strange that died previously, and then he goes and fights Wanda with the help of Wong. It goes weird. Then we see America Chavez finally be able to travel back, so they're all back after they sort of quote unquote beat ish Wanda. But then they travel back into another dimension where Wanda is super OP, but she sees her children, so that makes her weak for a second, enough for her to realize like, oh, everything I've been doing with this Darkhold is bad. This whole power has been bad, and I shouldn't have been trying to kill America Chavez. I'm a terrible mother. I'm a terrible person. And then the only way she thinks she could solve the problem is by killing herself through killing the scriptures that are technically the Darkhold itself. And she dies. Then we see Doctor Strange with America Chavez. They do that little celebration. They end up in the Kamar Taj, whatever that shit is called. They are completely just happy. They're rebuilding everything that Wanda destroyed. And at the end, we see Doctor Strange accidentally be a little corrupted by the Darkhold, which leads on into the two ending scenes that we had.
Okay, there you go. For anyone that didn't watch Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, I hope that's a great substitute for you. Because, yeah, that's actually pretty well done. Good job.
Thank you. I try to do it as simple as possible. Just straight up as simple, like 5-year-old explanation right there. Said it to you guys.
I could feel it when you're just like, come, that place. So let's talk about, with that summary out of the way, let's talk about some of our favorite moments from this movie. Let's start with Lewis, right? Because Lewis actually had something to say about more, not just like the scenes, but more of the cinematography / style of Sam Raimi.
Yes, I do.
So can you say it?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me. Okay.
Okay, so you want So what did you think about it? Did you enjoy the way that he was framing this movie? Because it didn't feel like, his Spider-Man movies. It felt like more of his horror entries into cinema.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that. You really got the vibe of really Evil Dead, or sometimes even The Ring. I think the best visual style of that was when Wanda comes out of like I don't even know the instrument. She just came out of freaking a mirror, and just reminded me of The Grudge or The Ring.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just perfectly visually.
Oh, I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, so she's
there's a reflection.
For the viewers at home, there's a scene. If you're in this deep in the podcast, you should watch the movie. But in this scene where Wanda's stuck in the mirror dimension, she's actually using reflections to drag people down, with her, and it is fucking intense. Like, it's just, yeah, it does have like those horror aspects to it, which is pretty cool.
And not only that, you also get a lot of Evil Dead vibes in this movie. And the best way I can say is when Bruce Campbell, the amazing cameo artist he is in every Sam Raimi film, starts beating himself up with his hand. And that's straight out of Evil Dead 2, where he just beats himself up with his own hand.
Yeah, in the movie, Doctor Strange was like, I think they were getting pizza balls.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
She stole the pizza bowl. She was like, "Hey, do you want some?" And then the guy that's selling them is like, "No, those aren't free. What the fuck are you doing?"
That's my fucking pizza balls. What the fuck are you doing?
And Doctor Strange is like, "Here, beat yourself up for a whole entire week, cause fuck you."
It's 3 weeks.
And that was
3
actually
weeks.
one of the post-credit scenes where he finally stops punching himself. It's like, it's over.
And then it isn't, cause he punches himself again.
Does he?
I
Yeah,
don't think he does.
yeah, he does.
Maybe
It
you
was
watched
part
it.
of, it was part of the humor.
Maybe it was part of the multiverse. Anyways, continue, Lewis. So what aspects did you like from this like style of cinematography? I enjoy this, like the close-up scenes that we got from him. The horror aspects were like not as like it's like not cheesy.
It is cheesy. It's not supposed to be like that scary. It's just supposed to give you that vibe of something's about to happen, like in a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
It's just basically the vibes. It's not really that it's supposed to scare you. It's just knowing this is the tone of what this scene's gonna play as.
Yeah.
And the best thing about his horror films is that they're violent, and we got to see that violence with Wanda. I think Wanda's the most thing that we got as a violent character in the MCU.
Yeah, she was terrifying in this movie. And like I love to see on Twitter people are just like the debate for strongest Avenger is now over since Wanda Maximoff demolished half of like the world's strongest heroes in this movie.
Was that a pun?
I don't. Why would it be a pun?
It
A
was the
certain
pun of what
person
if that
got
Earth movie.
sliced.
Oh, you mean Mr. String
I
Cheese?
guess not.
N-
No. I
No,
meant our
Captain
favorite
Captain
captain,
Britain.
but like,
Captain Britain.
did you just say that? No, that is not Captain Britain.
They actually call her Captain Carter.
Yes.
Captain Carter.
Yeah, but there's a lot to love about the way they made Wanda just an absolute fucking monster in this film.
Best scene in the movie.
Yes.
Like, the scene where she's like coming out of like the research lab to face off the Illuminati, or yeah, right before she enters the research lab, she's like destroying the Ultron bot, and you can see like half her face is like covered in like motor oil and like some other things that just make her look like Carrie from like I only watched the Scarlett Johansson one, but she looks exactly like her, and it's fucking terrifying, dude.
No, the thing that really showed her as a monster was in the mine.
Yeah, in the
scene.
mindscape
So when-
that Xavier inhabits with other Wanda.
So when-
yeah, that was
so-
pretty freaking deep.
So when Charles Xavier tries to enter Wanda's mind to save the Wanda of his dimension, the Scarlet Witch comes up behind her in this and it comes up behind him in this red mist, and basically just snaps his neck mentally. Which I don't even know how to fuck. Yo, if you're powerful enough to snap someone's neck mentally, that's just crazy.
That is factual. But if you really look at it, it's literally just a monster from Evil Dead, just with better effects. And I was like, fuck yes.
So then let's talk about some of the other stuff. I think for me, what also caught me was also just the premise of the movie, which is just finding happiness with what you have. I think that's the one thing I disliked about this movie, but I'll touch on that a bit later. Grimm, what was one of your favorite parts of this movie?
Personally, I just loved how she slaughtered the Illuminati. I just wish it was a little longer. I feel like they all had a bit
They
of.
should have lengthened it a little bit. You know.
Yeah,
make it
yeah.
more brutal.
Yeah. Like I wanted to see Mr. Fantastic do some cool ass like stretching fights, and then you see him then turn into a fucking.
They literally ripped him into string cheese. 2
Yeah.
seconds.
There
As soon as he
should
reached his
there
hand
should have
out,
been an extra
string
10
cheese.
minutes of like actually turning him to string cheese. You know how you like
No, it should
rip
have been an
apart
extra
piece by
10 minutes
piece?
of actual fighting. Like, there should have been some hands thrown, like anime style. He should have, like, Luffy punched the fuck out of her, and then she should have been like, oh, you motherfucker, and then swoop, string cheese, motherfucker. But we kind of missed that because she turned him into string cheese as soon as he popped in. And then I thought it was funny the way she's fucking just murdered Black Bolt. She's like, oh, what mouth? What you talking about?
Yo, that was crazy.
What is that? What is a mouth? And then boof, he's dead. You know what's funny? I feel like the two ending, it felt like a bit of woman empowerment, which I loved. I just feel like it just, I felt bad for what's it called? The other Miss Marvel from their universe. Whatever her name.
Captain Marvel, Maria
Monica-
Rambeau.
Yeah, Maria. There you go, Maria Rambeau. I just feel bad for her because she was the most confident one, and she was the most worthless one. It was kind of like our Miss Marvel.
Actually did.
No, she wasn't worthless.
She actually
just...
did get the most like intense, like I guess, action shot of like the fight between the Illuminati, where she's like breaking through the debris, and like her and Wanda's power
That's because
clash.
they let her.
Yeah, but when you think about it, like if you see the Captain Carter and Wanda fight, that actually, like, she got in. She was in there for real. With Miss Marvel, with Maria, it just felt like they just allowed her to do that just for the beauty of her powers. But she didn't feel like that was her ability.
Yeah, it was mainly. I think it was a lot of fan service, especially because like, it went back to that argument of who's the strongest Avenger, because as soon as you find out that like Captain Marvel got her powers from another Infinity Stone, you're like, oh, which one's more powerful?
I think
And
the
then-
debate
as soon as you
is
say a fight,
pretty
you're
much
kind of like-
over at this point.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, and then she fucking gets killed by Rubble, which I think was worthless. I feel
She got the
No,
she got
there's
the
a
least
reasoning
exciting
for that.
death.
Well,
yeah,
no,
she was she had
okay.
the lamest death and the
You
lamest dialogue.
can't.
She had a
Okay, but
reasoning
it
for why her
doesn't. It
death
doesn't. It doesn't
happened that
matter
way.
the reasoning. The problem is that the way they set
She
up
slaughtered.
this.
She saved the worst for last.
No. I think that it kind of sucks that Captain Marvel, especially in the MCU, is hyped up to be this like, basically this Thanos level.
Yeah,
strength and
OPS,
brutality.
real women empowerment, and then
It's not even just women empowerment. She's literally like before this movie, she was in the debate to be the strongest Avenger.
Yeah,
right?
because again, they want to show that female characters are strong, and they showed that more with Captain Carter than they did with
But what
her.
I hate the most is that the way she died was just because of falling rock.
It's lame, exactly. It's lame.
So fucking
they gave her the worst, and it's funny because we're debating how people died, but I don't know. I think Captain Carter carried the entire Illuminati, and her death was also the most visually appealing.
We'll do a tier list of best deaths from the Illuminati.
She got Darth Mauled. She got sliced in half, and slowly, like, she's like,
no. If you want to talk about the most visually, if you're talking about like the most graphic thing, it's fucking Black Bolt shooting a sonic blast into his own head.
Bro, but that was like
blood through his eyes.
He smoothed his brain.
Bro, that was quick, and like it was just like boof, and he's done. With Captain Carter, we see her eyes and we see her body slowly fall to the right side of the screen as she like dies. Like this, it's so fucking. Okay.
So hold on, let's explain the Illuminati real fast. So we forgot to mention that the Illuminati consists of a couple members. We have Black Bolt from the original and canceled Inhuman series. The same actor reprises his role. We have Agent Carter, same actor reprises her role from What If and from Captain America: The First Avenger. We have Charles Xavier, aka Professor X, looking dapper in his X-Men 1997 suit and chair. We have Mordo Supreme, which is just the universe's source of supreme.
That guy.
And we have John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. Oh, we had John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, aka String Cheese, aka After School Lunch. But
and Howard.
It's just and Howard what?
Jim Halpert. That's
Jim Halpert, right. We had Jim Halpert in the Illuminati, which is crazy. It's like one of those fan casts that I would think would never happen, but then when I saw it, I was hyped out of my fucking mind.
Oh, I've been wanting this for a whole time, like for a long ass time, and now that it's confirmed he's in the entire MCU and he could appear once again in the Fantastic Four movie, I'm just excited.
See, the thing is
they can't go back with that.
See, the thing is that.
What do you mean they can't go back with that?
Like if they change the
can
casting,
definitely go back.
If they change the casting of Mr.
really
Fantastic now, that's just bad.
No, because they can't. They can't. Because what's gonna happen is that people are gonna compare him to John Krasinski if there's gonna be a new actor for the Fantastic Four. So it has to be him.
No, I mean, if they could, because again, there's, for example, people wanted to see, what's his name, the crazy actor that nobody wants to hire anymore. He's
Jared
in Top
Leto?
Gun. No, Top Gun Maverick. He's not crazy. He's just weird.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. There you go. People wanted to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man, and he denied the freaking role. So I'm pretty sure if you could get a good enough other actor.
I thought the excuse that the writers made was just that they couldn't fit it in, like because of scheduling.
They wanted it to happen. They wanted Tom Cruise
because of schedule and availability.
It's Tom Cruise is like the worst actor to hire, so they were like, you know what, we just skip over you.
It really was just availability, Grimm. I think you just don't like
Bro, no. Like, I'm being dead ass. A lot of directors say
he is hard to work with. There is like just history of that, but I don't think that was the main issue.
He's also in Top Gun Maverick, so he's just not caring about anything else.
Fair
because
enough.
that releases this same month.
No, I think you're confused. It was already done filming several years ago. He's filming Mission Impossible now.
Wait, was it really? Holy shit!
Yeah, Maverick I think was delayed.
Maverick came out.
It's been filmed and
the trailer
completed for a while.
The trailer came out in July 20th, 2022.
Okay, besides all the rumors and stuff, which
hold on, July 20th, 2022. If we are just in 2022, it's not even July. There you go.
My bad.
Okay.
I was about to say.
so besides Tom Cruise and all the crazy rumors, right? That was our confirmed Illuminati for that universe, which I believe was Universe 383, right?
I don't think it's
838.
838.
838.
And what's interesting is that this is probably my favorite, I guess, little lore thing that they added was that it confirmed that our MCU, the universe that most of our favorite heroes reside in, is Earth 616. And for those who don't read the comic books and don't know about like the specific number 616 in the comics, Prime Earth, the Earth that most of the comic stories happen in, is Earth 616. So now, with that saying that the MCU is also Earth 616, that implies that these are two separate multiverses and not a part of the same world. Kevin Feige has said before this movie that the MCU universe was Earth 1999999, but now it's confirmed that it's a separate multiverse and the comics and like the movies are not connected at all.
I think that's the best thing.
Yeah, me too.
I think it works fine because then you don't. I think it tempers expectation, in my opinion, because I think what made this movie really just, I guess, bad for other people was that they were expecting so much out of this movie. Like they were expecting.
Hyped it up like there was gonna be more.
They expected Wolverine, Deadpool, fucking the whole X-Men. They expected all of the Inhumans. They expected basically everyone from old Marvel properties and movies to come back in, which is insane.
I mean, no, but that's what they hyped
It's
it
not
out
too
to be.
unreasonable
didn't-
to ask.
Look.
All right,
they
Zach.
they really quick. They try to do the whole the multiverse of madness. You have to watch it because it's gonna be extremely world changing. And with the merger, this is super important for people to see and understand what happens on in the later future. So with those type of statements, you start to think, oh, maybe we'll see all those characters and
I
we'll
don't
see
know
more
if they ever
interactions.
said this was like critical to the future of the MCU. I know they said
Yeah,
I know they said that for Eternals.
They did it specifically with Thor. They said that they didn't want to release any more of the Thor in the trailer specifically because it would be a lot of spoilers to Multiverse of Madness, which has a very large role in the future of the MCU.
Okay, interesting.
Yep.
But this doesn't and you say that and I don't like. Okay, so I think I agree with you guys. This did not live up to hype of what people were expecting of it. But it's also like you should keep your I always think you should always keep your expectations low because
Yes.
I always think that like yes, it would be cool to see these characters, it would be cool to see these people, but it's like it's rough. It would be rough because then this wouldn't be a Doctor Strange movie. And I would rather have a Doctor Strange movie since while the first one he had was good. It's a serviceable movie for Doctor Strange. Even by the end of this movie, you don't really know Stephen Strange. And that's what gets me. Is that like even without all the crazy cameos, this movie just didn't serve Strange at all. It served primarily Wanda's story. This is a Wanda movie, which I don't mind. It's great because it just serves her character and her story very well.
You really have to see this as a sequel to WandaVision and what Doctor Strange did after that.
Yeah. This really isn't a sequel to Doctor Strange, the movie. It's a sequel to WandaVision,
Which
honestly.
honestly kind of sucks.
But
Yeah.
I would say to continue on that, it does feel like a new stepping stone for the future for the MCU. Not really a changing, but it's getting us there because they did give us a lot of hints of what they could do in the future, especially
really
in the
a
post-credit
teaser.
scene.
It's really
Yeah, it's mostly in the post-credit scene, but it does show us there's multiple worlds out there and give us some hints of what is to come.
Yeah, I think I like the biggest problem. I guess you can summarize it into one word is scope. People thought this was going to be bigger scope of a film, and it really was just only centering around two characters, which was Strange and Wanda, which I don't mind. I rather would take that over just a cameo fest like No Way Home because we already saw it. We don't need to have another one.
Well, if you're talking about scope, I think like Loki is much bigger in scope for the MCU than like
yes,
any of what happened in Multiverse of Madness.
yes, but it's also like that's how they wanted to start the multiverse. So it's
Yeah,
but
we're
it's
tying up the
it's
steps.
if you're
We're
talking about
tying up
Loki,
steps.
if you're talking about how Loki does against Multiverse of Madness, I don't know if I want to get into that, but Loki does a good job of both. It takes the story of two characters, Sylvie and Loki, while also trying to make the grander scope of the MCU just larger, you know. But what Multiverse of Madness did, I think it just didn't do much. If you're talking about the overall scope, you're talking about Wanda.
Yeah,
it did a lot.
To be fair, what I feel like what happened with Doctor Strange is that they wanted Doctor Strange to be the main character, but they didn't want to spoil that Wanda was gonna be the villain.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a lot of people wanted more on Doctor Strange, but the reality is that, you know, they wanted a Wanda villain type of show.
Yeah.
That's not at all what they tried to show us, though. They tried to show us some new villain that was threatening their universe.
We can jump back into that once we like get into like the general discussion. Zach, what was your like favorite like disliked scene that you've seen from Multiverse of Madness?
Wait, you talking about my favorite scene or my least liked scene?
Either or.
Your favorite.
My personal favorite scene was when Professor X had like a very like strong moment with Doctor Strange trying to convince Mordo, hey, he's not all that bad. I loved the callback to the X-Men films that they made. That was really good.
What was the line? Do you remember the line?
Just because someone stumbles and loses their way does not mean they're lost. And that's a very Charles Xavier scene.
Very, very Professor X moment. That was really good. And then like when he comes in, the theme of the 1997 X-Men, you could hear, like, that
is very good. Like they knew what they were doing when they put him in there, which I'm glad that's probably got to be one of the better moments.
Did you guys also see like the special effects he did with like when he tries to like show Strange like his projection?
Those little circles.
Yeah, the little like sonic waves or whatever. That looks so cool.
Yeah,
it was perfect. It really came out of the anime series.
He took James McAvoy's finger touch that like head touch.
Yeah, that too. Because Charles
didn't originally
Xavier
do
in the
that.
X-Men movies didn't do that.
He didn't do
really
that
just
in the
like
original.
looked.
But that's the point. It's from the anime series. They're denying all the plots.
Yeah, that's really good.
Hey man, it's just chilling. That was pretty cool. I think the whole Illuminati thing was just incredible.
That has probably got to be the movie's strength throughout everything, is that the fact that they set the Illuminati up pretty well. I have a lot of misgivings about the film, but that is got to be like their strong point.
Yeah, I think
say what you will about the deaths and everything, but those are really good.
I think that.
Hey man, the deaths were.
I know. Well, let's not go off on a whole tangent. I'm just saying, like, there's good and bad. Like,
I will say one thing.
Roll with it.
I will say one thing. The cameos did not overstay their welcome, which I am happy about. They served their purpose just to show how badass Wanda is, and that's it.
They really were a straight up cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ralph, what was your favorite scene from this movie, if there is one?
Them dying.
That's me, bro. It was really good. You can't complain.
I mean, like, you can't complain.
Bro, honestly,
Hey, that's the minute I sat up.
Bro, honestly,
I'm just here chilling in my chair.
Hold up. Story time. As I'm watching this film, so I've already watched this film already with Lewis. He went to an early screening, but I sat next to Grimm and Ralph just to see the reaction. Ralph, as everyone is dying, all the Illuminati, he's like, he's just fucking laughing, and I'm like, you psycho. And he's just like, oh my god, he's dead. I was like, bro, you good? And then Grimm is just like shock and awe, but he's also just laughing a bit too.
In between scenes,
dude, you guys were just laughing the entire fucking.
Yo, they're gonna die. We were just laughing the whole time.
Let me give you my experience, because when they were dying from the early screening, because I watched this movie 3 times. From the early screening, I was just bawling out. Fucking, I was like, shit. Then on the second time, I was just rooting for Wanda just to kill him. I 100% agree with that.
They also did a good job just making them unlikable. Besides Reed.
I mean, Reed, I loved them from the beginning.
I loved them too.
We're not really supposed to get connected with them because it's not ours.
Yeah, don't get attached too quick. That's what I learned. I'm like, don't get attached.
Fuck. Hey, we need another movie where they just murk Marvel characters. We just need that.
Dude, what if they made?
We need one of those.
What if
we need Deadpool murders the Marvel universe?
Dude, that's exactly what I was gonna say. That's exactly.
Yes.
Dude, get on that. Let them like make it a what if episode.
Yes.
I would love that.
Make it a whole show.
They're gonna
Like,
do a whole
hey,
warning beforehand, like, "Hey, yo, by the way, this is a rated R episode. There's gonna be some bits." That would be. I
So
would love that.
I want to talk about what I disliked about this movie the most. This movie.
Can I go next?
Oh, did you not?
Watching
Did
it
you?
was
Did
that-
you? Oh,
wait.
did you not say your favorite thing? I thought it was the death.
I said my favorite thing, but I want to say my least favorite thing.
Hold up, I want to bring up something, and I think a lot of people have been talking about this too. Is that this movie? I felt like, in my opinion, should have been rated R, just so they can push it a little bit further with the violence. Like the death of the Illuminati, like when they cut from Agent Carter being sliced in half to like a different shot.
They did a whole They did a whole pause after she got hit. They did a whole pause, 3 seconds, and then like they panned at the back of her falling off, and then the shield comes out.
Bro,
You
they
know-
should have just shown us her body just like splitting in two and dropping. Like,
You know,
We
they're
always
really
wanted
debating
that.
to
How
change
are you
the
going to show
rating.
that to kids? Like that's really hard to
Don't
do.
Kinda
show
made
it-
it look
don't
like the
show
shield
it
got
to
stuck
kids.
in her, and then it fell out
don't show it to
to the
kids.
pillar.
They should have advertised this as like they advertised it as like one of the most like the quote unquote first horror movie of the MCU.
You know they're debating to change the rating.
Yeah, but like
Dude, it's
I don't
totally
think
not
I don't think
worthy
they
of a
should.
rated R
It's
rating.
too
It's
late.
not.
The way the
It's
movie
still
is
late,
now,
but
it's
they're-
not
The
not.
movie is still gonna be stay out until like 16 weeks.
But it's not even that. It's just that like there's nothing there besides like the Illuminati scenes where it's like that much violence happening.
That one scene deserves a rated R rating if they pushed it a
They,
little bit more.
they should do a
They
little
should have pushed
prompt.
it just a little bit more.
They should do a little prompt before the scene, and it's just like Grimm's voice, like this shit's about to get ugly.
Disclaimer: after this, everybody gets fucking murked. So you better either close your eyes or fucking enjoy it.
Avert the
motherfuckers.
children's eyes, ladies and gentlemen.
If you like gore, motherfuckers gonna die.
Mommy, I love Mr. Fit. Oh my God, he's dying. Why? He's blue, dude. Someone sent.
Imagine a little kid with the black bolt scene. Look, he's gonna talk. Wait, what? Whoa! He's fucking hit.
Dude, someone, my friend Aaron, he sent me a photo of blue noodles, and he was just like, "Look familiar?" Question mark. I was like, "Ain't no way,
Bro, if you find a fruit on the ground, that's just black bolt.
bro."
Oh shit!
He actually died like a mango.
He's a fucking
Done.
vegetable, dude. Now,
He really is.
oh, bro.
Bet he won't say anything anymore.
Now he's real silent.
Been real quiet.
Okay. So, is there anything? Okay, let's actually go to Ralph, because if you guys don't know from our Moon Knight series, Ralph is, I guess you can say, our CGI specialist, and he likes to point out
Or
a
more
lot,
like our CGI critic, but
and he likes to point
Yeah.
out a lot of the stuff going wrong with Marvel shows. He'll never say what's right, because then what's the point of being a critic? So yeah, Ralph, take it away, man.
I'm just disappointed.
already starting off.
He's like,
strong.
yeah, I like this, and it's just switching personalities. Like, this movie fucking
Yo,
blows.
it's
No,
Mark now.
I've been waiting.
It's
I've been
Mark.
waiting.
Bro, we had Steven.
waiting.
It's time for Mark. Oh lord.
I've been
And then
waiting.
we're gonna have Jake. All right, take it away, Raph.
All right, so the CGI, it still looked a little cartoonish, in my opinion. It doesn't look better, it just looks faster. So most of the shots, like, it looks smoother when it's panning to camera shots. Like, it actually looks smoother. That's what people are saying, it looks better. But I'm like, it just looks faster. Literally just looks faster. And for Wanda Sequence, they pushed her out of frame. After she got hit by the cannon, they pushed her out of frame, and then she got reeled back in to the other side. I didn't really like the.
So are you talking about? Okay. Hold up. Let's talk about CGI. So let's talk. What was like the most appalling CGI you saw?
I mean, it's very based on art style. And personally, I'm just not a fan of it because every single monster they had, it looked too watery. I don't know how to describe that, but it looked too much like they were focusing so much to, like, shining so much to get reflections off of their bodies that it just looks like liquid.
Do you
it
mean
just
too
looks
slimy?
all yeah, it just looks slimy as fuck. Like, no matter who they put it on, and it's been like that for a while, in my opinion. The only person that I'd say the CGI was really good in, like, where they didn't look like that, was like Hulk and Thanos. Like, throughout the entire MCU. But even in like Moon Knight, when he was shaping up, they still try to pan out. They still try to add so much reflection on his suit that when his chest comes out, it looks a little like liquidy instead of like metallic, like how it should be.
I've said this before, but I genuinely think you are not enjoying the Marvel CGI style more and more.
It's just Disney. It's not just Marvel.
Fair enough.
Sony is way.
Oh yeah, and Sony makes good movies though, like Morbius.
Bro, Morbius.
Just buy out the company.
the
Take
best.
their CGI.
Morbius is
Take their
great,
CGI
man. You know.
Morbius is taking Sony to the fucking moon.
Bro, Morbius is their ticket.
They're gonna have a hot
Listen,
meal
their
ticket
CGI
on
didn't
that
make
one.
sense, but it looked cool.
True.
Honestly, if they didn't make that stupid ass smoke shit, it could have been better. Like I would have said yes, it's good.
That's true. It just didn't make sense though. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
For Marvel's, it made sense. It just wasn't executed right.
What?
All right, Raf, I got a question for you, my brother.
Okay.
In what part did you actually think the CGI was decent or good?
That's a good question. I think
I would say it's pretty decent when she was slaughtering everyone.
Let's just mark that whole. That's like the Batman freaking trying to get Penguin. That's that scene. It's just the best scene in the
Mark
entire.
that as the
thing.
highest. Mark that as the highest budget.
That's
highest
just
budget
like,
scene.
that.
The only issue I have with that scene was actually the Captain Carter death because like they paused for way too long to where it looked like after they hit her, after the shield hit her, they made it look like she caught it with her body and then but just died because she caught
Bro,
it.
she built
then,
difference.
But then she fell over and then the shield still kept going to the pillar. Like it stopped, like it hit momentum, stopped for a little bit, and then went back to full speed. Like that shit accelerated off her body after cutting straight through the woman. That's
What
really
you're saying
my
is
only
the
issue with
continuity was
CGI.
wrong.
It's just lack of physics, but I mean we're dealing with magic here, so I'm just gonna ignore that. But
It could also be that they were trying to do a slow mo of her dying and
Yeah.
then go back to speed, but they just like
for Black Bolt, I really liked the CGI they did for his death specifically because like they even made him bleed out through like the back. Like you can like how sound waves traveled. It actually was pretty good, except it just went a little far to the right because that's just where the camera was.
You could
don't know.
You could see his little fork thing flicker out as he dies.
Yeah,
that shit was
was-
so.
And like he
It was-
twitched a little bit because he like basically blew his skull open. Like
I wish
yeah,
they
those
added
were
a
all
little
really
bit more,
good
like-
details.
I wish they added a little bit more gore to like Mr. Fantastic's that scene because they really did make him look like just confetti, like blue, like straight up blue confetti, like
I
ripped
think
off.
that's just a restriction of PG-13.
Yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't. You could just chop that up to like, oh, this is just reality changing. It's not even like, oh, she's ripping him apart. It's just he's literally just being turned to confetti.
No, didn't she just blow his head off? She did.
No.
It wasn't a blow. It just
literally
turned it turned into it.
It popped into confetti. It literally popped.
Yeah.
Like it sounds
They
exactly what you
infused
do
them
when
and
you
it
set off
popped.
confetti.
All,
As
I'm,
soon as I
it's
saw
kinda
that, I was
like
just
one
like,
of
yo,
those,
that sounds like
party
I was like, they
things
should
you-
just. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
all I'm saying is
I
that
don't know if those
Those party things are like New Year's.
Wanda created Franklin Richards' like evil villain origin story.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
Oh
looking
yeah.
forward to that.
Yep.
I am very like you guys said, implication wise, this movie is great because like they name drop so many useful things for the future, but like I don't know.
So
This is a
It-
great.
let me-
This is
let
a
me
great
ask
series.
you.
This is great for Marvel Disney Plus series, but
Mhm.
it sucks for actual movies.
Oh yeah, MCU wise, this is kind of like a hit, especially given that they had better movies like Shang-Chi and
This is
Spider-Man
giving so much
in their lineup.
In my opinion, if you've watched Disney Plus shows and like the Marvel Disney Plus shows, what this says to you is like, hey, you should probably purchase that. That's gonna be great later on because we can actually show you that stuff in a smaller sequence, not a movie, but we can show it to
But
you later.
it's also hell of misleading because they've always
Exactly.
they've said from the start that the Disney Plus shows will not have a big impact into the MCU, and then literally the second Disney Plus show that came out, well, you could
The
say
first
even
one.
even from
The
WandaVision,
first one.
had just ripple
First
effects.
MCU Disney Plus show.
Yeah, because all they
WandaVision.
really did, if you didn't watch WandaVision, you just thought, oh wait, Wanda's a bad kind.
Yeah, you just don't
She has kids?
you don't
Whoa!
get why she's this crazy. You understand that yes, she's now crazy and has to find her kids, but what was the journey that she got there? You don't know that
Raimi
unless
really
you
didn't do a good
watch
job
Disney
of
Plus
explaining
shows.
that.
Well, they do. Marvel. I didn't notice this until a while back.
You could explain. You could say that they explained it, but it just because they explained something, I just it doesn't.
It wasn't well.
Yeah.
It was the same thing
No,
with the
I'm not saying
explanation
by
for
any
the
means as well, but they
MCU.
took the easy way out. They did like a like what is this called, Marvel Legends or something like that on Disney Plus. Like they have a little subcategory in the MCU section where it's just like it's basically like pre what is it, like the preamble of the, it's basically the preamble of the show, like to
Regardless,
get you up to speed.
you have to buy a Disney Plus subscription. You can't just
Right,
go
I'm not
into
saying
the.
it's
not a
bad, I'm
good
just
thing.
saying
It's
like
not
they
a good
take the easy way
it's
out.
the problem. Okay, my problem is that if you're a devoted Marvel fan, getting a Disney Plus account is probably not that big of a problem. But if you're like a moviegoer that only really watches Marvel movies and doesn't like to absorb it as much as, like, let's say us, it's a problem that these shows, you have to spend hours and hours of like your day or your life having to follow these shows that you might not want to follow. You might just want to watch
that's my argument that I had with Zach, is that, well, this is technically a part two of like a movie, and it's also a part whatever number of the MCU. So if you're not really following it, then this movie is not at all for you.
Okay,
It's false advertising.
but my issue is, Grimm.
announced-
Hold on, my issue is, Grimm, is that they have advertised the Disney Plus show as just a side thing.
No, yeah,
It's
that's
not-
different. That's different.
That's
but I'm
the
saying,
gripe
like,
I
for the
have.
movie, for the movie itself, it's understandable because, again, this is like a continuation of something. So
yeah, as soon as
of
you
course,
see the trailer, you're kind of like, oh shit.
yeah,
I missed something.
this is if you are not following it like culture, then this movie itself is not for you. But I do understand the whole Disney Plus thing because, let's be honest, half of what happened in the Disney Plus shows are essential for the future of the
They're gonna
MCU.
Yeah, they're
We
just gonna.
have
Two in particular.
Wanda, Loki.
We have
no,
potentially
no,
Captain America. We have Captain America 4
Yeah.
announced.
You have Captain America
Exactly.
4, and people who don't watch Disney Plus have to just come to the realization that Falcon is now like fully realized.
Yeah, like
Captain
they
America.
wouldn't know how that happened. But again, it's like, of course, the advertisement for that was terrible, but for the movie itself, it's sort of like you have to follow it like culture to understand it in the first place.
Yeah, but
In terms of
that's not an issue.
general
I don't think that's a
explanation
problem.
though. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's like how they explain Earth 616. I kind of explained this when we watched the movie. It's kind of like I actually had this reference with Zach. It's like you kind of just if you're just a regular watcher that just watches Marvel, that's not really a fan, but you just watch. You kind of just get along for the ride because you're like, oh shit, well I'm missing something. Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've talked to some people that are like that keep up with. Actually, I'm surprised at how many non-comic book, just general watchers keep up with the Marvel shows.
You have
I think
to.
it's just
There's
like
a good
it's-
percentage of Marvel.
Yeah,
movies.
you have to, but we know you have to because it's context-wise. General people don't even realize how dependent they will be on the shows, and most of them just genuinely want to watch it just because. But they don't realize how dependent they are on watching the series, because like, for example, my sister watched WandaVision, but that's probably the only reason she'd be able to catch up with the MCU because, like, Doctor Strange, that's the entire plot point of Multiverse of Madness. Without that, you are in the dark as to what Wanda's real motives are.
Yeah.
Maybe you get a little bit from Endgame if you watched it because it was a really big movie. That's more likely, but you don't really have any real basis. Like,
You know,
WandaVision is it. You need that, or otherwise you're lost.
you know one thing that bothers me though, because like I said, well, I didn't say it in the podcast, but I've said it before to you guys. I actually thoroughly enjoyed the movie, but one issue that I'm having with it is that how they explain the multiverse.
I was just saying that.
Yeah, because we talked about it, and for me it was pretty straightforward. Because again, I've read
Because
the comics.
because we
I,
know the
I
comics.
follow the movies. I follow the shows. Marvel for me, it's a big thing. But I just realized now that the only way they explain the multiverse is as something that's bad. That's quite literally all they said about it. They never reference how it's the unity of multiple universes that are created through different frequencies, lights, and
Loki
all
season
that.
2 better have
Yeah.
a multiverse war.
And
The
so,
way-
like, when you think about it, all that you actually get to know in this movie about the multiverse is just that it's bad and that there's different dimensions.
And they didn't even really
I mean,
say
you
how
don't even
bad.
see it's bad.
They don't
you
even
just
say
see that
it's bad.
it's jarring. That's all you really
No,
get
no,
from it.
no, no. They say it's dangerous.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
they
yeah.
say
Let's
it's
go.
dangerous because of like people like Wanda that
Yeah,
want.
but that's the thing.
like,
It's just
power.
bad. Like I'm summarizing
way-
it to one word. It's bad.
The way they contextualize the multiverse, and it's like Grimm said it, they just picture it as like bad, like other invaders coming in, like other people from other universes coming into their world causes incursions, which if you follow the comics, spoiler for what might happen in the Marvel universe going forward, incursions happen when two universes collide against each other, making sure that both universes just fucking die. It happens
Essentially,
It happens.
Go
in,
on, sorry.
It happens in probably I think one of the most well-written Marvel
They don't
stories of all
explain
time,
that-
Secret Wars.
They don't explain that well in Doctor Strange.
It's not,
either.
but
They don't
it's
explain.
it's
You kind of just have to assume what an incursion is by the end of the movie. You're kind of like,
it's and this is also my
well,
gripe.
you get what an incursion is because we go to evil
Yeah,
Doctor Strange, the actual evil one. That's an incursion level world.
yeah,
Yeah.
they just kind of say it. They don't really say it before then, though.
No, they mention incursions. They mention it's a bad thing and it
Yeah.
would destroy
when
worlds.
they-
but
when
they
they-
didn't
again-
show you
Again,
it.
description bad.
This-
What does that mean?
Oh,
Okay, but it's also
What are you
like
talking
it's
about?
okay. Hold up. I think the problem with this story is like we said again, it's expectation of what they're going to do for the MCU, and in reality, this movie is not centered around the multiverse. The multiverse is just used as a setting for the story of Strange and Wanda, and that's something I've learned to accept from this movie, and that's something that we just have to deal with, because
That
there's a
wasn't
lot
my
of things that just aren't explained. There's a lot of things that are not well explained that might be explained in future season 2 of Loki, the Marvels.
They didn't even
Secret
really say
Invasion.
those are things, which is questionable.
Mm-hmm.
They
But
kind of
if you're-
just say it is what it is, but don't like they don't really give any homage to any of the Disney Plus series in a good light. They're like, oh, you shouldn't. They're trying to say, hey, if you want to watch it, you should. But I mean, like you really shouldn't watch it because then you're just gonna get confused most of the time. Watching the shows made me more confused watching the movie, especially with Wanda's story. It did not end like that in WandaVision.
No. So you want to know something?
And especially with her learning, I want to say this first before anyone learns. She's literally learning like the final end credit scene of Wanda, like the last scene you see her in WandaVision is literally her learning magic, like her mastering magic through the Darkhold. Her reading it in her astral form while her physical form is grabbing a cup of tea in her front porch. She's literally mastering magic, and then she pretty much does the same thing in the Avengers movies as she does in Multiverse of Madness, except for those random splits of reality, like taking out Black Bolt's mouth, turning Reed Richards into like string cheese. Those are just random bits of reality that you kind of just are like, how did she know how to do that?
Yeah,
And it's just not blended well. Like it's not consistent.
Again, it's the argument we said where like you have to watch these shows in order to understand.
No,
some
I'm saying
level
if
of
you
content.
watched it, I watched it. I'm more confused.
Well, the thing is, all right. So this is what I understand.
And based on the
using-
explanation of Loki's multiverse, I'm more confused about this one.
No. So let me explain it. All right. Get some popcorn, sit in. I'm gonna explain what I've learned from
My
context.
point is the fact
clues.
that you have to do that is just not good.
No,
It's not
yeah,
consistent.
it's not. But let me explain it to you, and then we'll explain why it's bad, why they did it that way, right? So, in the end of WandaVision, we see her with the Darkhold, and we see her fingers already getting dark. From what they've already explained in Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, is that any person that gets a hold of the Darkhold will not only be able to learn any sort of banned magic, but they will also be corrupted instantly. So that instantly says, obviously,
Also
in
simplified
a
the Darkhold
in
too much.
in a terrible way, it's saying Wanda at the end, she's learning all the magic needed to get her kids at the same time as being corrupted. Now skip all the way to Loki, and the way that the multiverse worked in that world is that they allowed to open all of the multiverses, right? So there was zero at first, which is probably why it was never mentioned, and then during the events of Loki, towards the end, when Kang really appears, there's an open timeline of multiverses, and it just anything goes. Then this event happened, which is Multiverse of Madness, where they find that Wanda has been learning from the Darkhold as well as being corrupted, and then we have Doctor Strange having the same power nerfs as before, which I said are terrible, like in No Way Home. It just he keeps on getting nerfed for no reason, and then we have the whole explanation, which is a terrible explanation that the multiverse exists. It's bad. We're not supposed to go there, and that the Darkhold is something that as soon as you touch it, you
oversimplified things way
corrupt.
too much. They oversimplified way too much.
And it's like they oversimplify to the point where you have to be like me, where you have to search for context clues and try to understand
Exactly,
deeply
like-
what they're trying to do.
And
Which for
for
me, I love.
the
But
only-
for you guys,
the main
I
issue, the main issue I have with like I'm sorry, like I don't have the main thing that I don't really have an issue with when it comes to like the reference to with lack of references to Loki is because they probably don't even know what happened. It just is what it is. They probably just realized, oh wait, the
So-
multiverse is we have the multiverse now. Question mark.
Well, I just want to put this out there that Doctor Strange 2 was filming literally the halfway point through WandaVision, so it didn't watch Loki. Not only that,
That explains why it
No.
didn't reference WandaVision well.
He was done around the
No, the reason-
around
the
or
reason
not
why
before
WandaVision
WandaVision was done.
The reason why WandaVision wasn't referenced at all was because Sam Raimi just didn't watch WandaVision. He was
Didn't
told
read
the
it,
key
that's
points
true.
of it. Also, you can say that WandaVision was in production midway through. Not WandaVision. Multiverse of Madness was in production midway through WandaVision, but also
It wasn't
they had
midway
to do-
through though. It was at the very end.
they had to do reshoots though.
Yeah.
Because
That's
of
what
those
delayed it
reshoots, a
another
lot of the
3
story was
months.
changed. Even
Or-
Elizabeth Olsen said like that there's a lot of
No,
stuff.
they
that's just
yeah they say
confusing.
in interviews that the title is the only thing that really didn't change.
Yeah.
Throughout their entire movie.
Alright,
It
can I
shows.
say
It
one
really
thing
shows.
that Marvel's starting to do bad?
Sure.
Starting.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, like it's becoming terrible. So with the original like Phase 1, obviously it was like it was
I
the
think I know where you're
beginning.
going. Yeah.
They didn't know exactly where they had to go, but eventually they got to the point where everything was linear. It had a straight storyline that it was gonna follow. They wanted to set up Thanos. They knew the direction that they wanted to take. Now, after Phase 3 and stuff, they want to give a lot of freedom to other directors. They want to be like, all right, we have an open universe. We know sort of what things we want to add. We don't want to add them yet, but we want to open up for those things to add. So they're giving like certain rubrics for people to follow. Oh, make sure you reference this, and that. Do not touch this, and that. But then they're taking away the linearity that they had before. It's no longer linear. It's becoming, if a director likes this, they could do this. If a director likes this, they could do this. And it's completely waving and destroying the original story. So now we have unlimited like stories that could happen at the cost of there's no real main plot. It's just all side plots that you could put together like a puzzle that's not gonna look great. And I think
my
that's the main
opinion-
problem right now.
Yeah, I agree. In my opinion, I think Sam Raimi had too much freedom with this movie, but he was given a rubric way too late. Like all of us, I feel like
It's-
all of a sudden you kind of realize like which parts are really because some parts just felt out of place in Sam Raimi's control because those horror scenes, they would be good if they were consistent throughout the whole movie, but certain you can tell by just certain way that scenes were shot that in the fight scene between Wanda and Kamar-Taj, it was way too much lighting. That's not a horror setting, where you should be making things scary or frightening. They literally blasted the sun at them for most of that fight, and it just didn't give off the same vibe. It kind of just felt like, oh,
This movie, with like a lot of Phase 4 projects, suffered from like the COVID pandemic and things having to be delayed, things having to be changed around. Like this movie was supposed to come out right after WandaVision,
I
but
would have
now
been
it's
very
like
interested to read
what-
the script.
yeah.
I feel like it would have been better in the script than it would be
But
directed.
this is the final product that we got, and I agree with Grimm in that yes, the MCU did not start out as like this big brain story that like they claim it to be. No, it was just meant Iron Man, and if they go far, they'll make another different superhero.
Yeah, and after that,
Hold
they
on.
knew what they were doing.
But the way they structured it is that they made it into a whole saga. The way they're structuring Phase 4, it's just seems like these independent stories because now they feel like, all right, we did a whole saga, we did this continuous story. Now it just feels like they're just doing whatever they feel like they want to add in. and then maybe at the very
feels
end
like
of
filling in the
Phase
blanks.
6 or Phase 5, they'll put like Secret Wars. Which
Alright, so I have a question. When does Moon Knight take place, and when does Multiverse of Madness take place?
I don't
That's a
Moon
good
Knight
question.
doesn't matter.
I
and
don't think they confirm it,
Moon
nor
Knight
do I
doesn't
think it
matter.
really matters because it doesn't correlate with each other.
Moon Knight doesn't matter in the least bit. I'm
No,
sorry for
it's
everyone that loved
So
it.
hold
It
up.
just doesn't
Let's
matter.
let's talk about it like this.
Because
We'll
the
have a
director-
general. We'll have a
The
general.
director made an announcement that he wants to make a season 2. And honestly, I could see it happening, which means Moon Knight might become more prevalent to the universe. But like I said before, it's becoming too disorganized.
I agree with you, Grimm. It's just they started out with the problem is they started out great in order of just establishing for us what's like where we are and what we're going forward with, like WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki. Those were 3 pre-established characters or character groups that we already knew about, and that's just like where they're at now. And now we're jumping in like after Black Widow, we kind of just jumped into like the grand scheme of things, and now we're just like
Yeah,
it's like you're saying
not.
all
There's
over the
no
place.
there's
There's
no
no-
there's no
there's no
purpose. There's no
direction.
focus. But Phase
It's hard
4
to say if
problem-
they really do have a plan now, though.
Phase
It's
4
It's really
okay, hold on.
hard to say, especially after this.
Phase 4 problems aside, like everything going on with the MCU aside, what is your final rating for this movie? I want to start with Lewis. Lewis, what's your final rating for this movie?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
I personally, originally, I gave it a 10 out of 10 when I watched it in the movies. That was before I analyzed. That was pure thought, how I felt. Now, looking back at that moment, I would say that it's definitely an 8 out of 10. It's hard for me, the movie itself. But I feel like a nerd wise, I would have preferred if it was different. But as a moviegoer and as someone that just already knows the comics, already knows the films, already knows how the story is, I kind of liked it. I liked how it went. I liked the visuals. I liked the story. And I'm not even going to try to rate it more critically because I feel like this was a moment to take a breather and just enjoy.
What did you say your final rating was? Sorry.
My final rating is 8 out of 10. I agree with Lewis because I'm not. This is the one movie I feel like I could finally lay off the main connection to the main universe, and I'll take this one movie as the breather, and I'll give it a good high rating as 8 out of 10.
Okay. Zach, what did you think? What's your final score?
I say I have to come in around like 7. I feel like there's for me the only reason it's not lower, like at like a 5 maybe, is because of the things that it pushed forth, did well, and like shone brightly for. But organization wise, like what Ralph pointed out, I can't now looking at it, I can't in good conscience say if I go in with simple-minded expectations of the movie, sure, this movie's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, and like it's not like structurally bad like the Eternals or anything like that. It's fine, but it's just like I feel like my expectations of the movie were so much greater because they've been pushing this narrative of multiverse for so long, and it's not lining up. Like they're not making a plan. They're just putting it out there constantly, like little name drops, and that's all they're doing. Like there's no real structure. So like especially for something that was meant to structure your perception of the multiverse, it's not good to me. So that's why I leave it at 7. But there's great moments. Like I did not expect them to go as hard
You
on
say
the
7?
horror as they 7 out of 10. I did not expect them to go as hard on the horror stuff at all. Like that was like a refreshing nice note, but like everything else where I really just feel like it's a lot of like jumbled like opinions about what the script was meant to be, and then they essentially got in some direction.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Ralph, what do you think?
You want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first. I think it's better for you to go. We're
Okay,
wrapping
leave
up on
it
a
on-
high
you're
note. We'll wrap it up on a high note.
I rated like a 4, to be honest.
Jesus.
Execution was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Execution
like
of
me and Ralph
story.
talked about this. Like it's
Execution of
the
story was just so bad.
Yeah.
it's the opposite of Spider-Man. Like he said this to me, and I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I didn't see it that way, but it is right. That is a right assessment.
Spider-Man did an execution right, but the story was kind of poor. If you think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
And
true.
then
If you
this-
really think
Holy
about
shit.
Spider-Man, there was
And then this one,
good part to it.
Yeah, and then this one is like good story, but shit execution.
Holy shit! That's probably why I liked it so much. Holy fuck! That's oh my god!
I was
Because
telling you this.
I'm the story guy. Like I ignore everything else but the story, and then you guys ignore the story but love everything else. Oh, holy
do
shit!
both.
No,
This
no, I love the
is
story, Grim. Don't get me wrong. I love the story. I thought the journey that Doctor Strange took throughout the whole thing was really nice. Like it was good. It finally
yeah.
got
It's just the
some real character
execution was
growth out of
weird.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not great
Holy
execution for that
shit!
actual intended fact.
Oh
Like
my
we in
god!
the first one, his origin movie didn't even give him that much character growth. It just said, "All right, stop being a dick and accept the fact that
Yeah,
you're
it was
small
really.
and you're not as
It's the
big as you
same
think."
thing.
Hey, can I be
They
honest?
essentially
Just like,
showed
yo,
him,
drop your
"Hey,
ego.
you're human. You're allowed to make mistakes, but other people can make up for those mistakes that you make. Like
Can I,
let it go." And that was
can I,
good. That was the good part about it.
can I expose myself? I still haven't
Sure, go
watched
ahead.
Doctor Strange 1.
Have you
Huh?
not?
You don't have to.
Is,
You've
don't
never
is,
seen it?
is the one movie I do not want to watch because I try to, and every time I try, I just get
Well,
bored.
there's some things in the movie that like talk about that are actually referenced from the first one, like questions.
No, I mean, like certain
but
things.
you
The
don't
I
really
only
understand.
thing
No,
that
yeah,
comes
like
back from the
certain things-
first movie is Christine
No.
Palmer.
No, I know. Like,
No,
I know, but
because there's some
I know the
references, but
basis.
there are some mistakes there. Like Mordo's boots, it doesn't do that. That's wrong.
what's it called?
It's not jet boots. It's literally he can walk on air. That's
I,
also a poor execution.
I know a few things from the first movie. Like, I know the basis, especially because of What If and other shit. But I just could never watch the movie itself. Like, I've seen summaries, I've heard references from other movies and stuff like that. I just could never get into that specific movie.
Yeah, it's definitely more of the it's definitely on the more dramatic side, but I personally enjoy it. Gabe, what was your rating?
To be honest, I'm kind of in the middle because I don't. While I enjoyed it, it's refreshing in that I feel like more Marvel movies should like break from the formula, because even though I give this movie like a 6 out of 10, I enjoy that it's something different and something fresh. Because what was the movie before this? Spider-Man: No Way Home was an event. I don't really count as a movie. And then what was the movie before this? Shang-Chi. Like having movies giving these like specialized
Technically,
styles to it.
Eternals is before, but
What movie? So basically, having these movies have their own specialized style
Fair.
and making them good, and then doing other directors and using their styles to make it great. It serves the MCU to be diversified, and it serves for it to open up to other audiences, and that's what I like more about this movie: the opportunity that it could open up to other directors directing good Marvel properties. You know, what I didn't like about the movie was that I wanted to see more of like Strange having an actual story, having more of a character arc instead of just like you need to be grateful. But that's like what Ralph said. It's literally just what the first movie was doing for Doctor Strange. But I think it's like a solid movie. I would watch it again just for seeing the Illuminati die again. But yeah, I think it's a pretty solid movie. It's not like the craziest thing ever, but it's pretty good. And yeah, I think we're.
Oh wait, what did you rate it as? Was it a 5?
He said no. He said
six.
6
out of 10.
Yeah.
6 out of 10.
I remember rewatching it and I was like, wow, this is so much better. Now that I'm not thinking about anything, it just feels great. And then like
I
the
feel
minute I saw the Illuminati dying, I was like, I snapped back to reality. I was like,
do
oh, wait a
think
minute.
me watching it twice helped me quell my expectations for it watching the second time, because it helped me understand like this is what the movie is about and not what I thought it was about, which just helps a lot. But yeah, it's a solid movie. 6 out of 10, mind you, is not bad. It's a good movie. I just don't think it's like it exceeded what I would want to see from like a amazing superhero movie. Yeah, and that's pretty much my take on it. Anything else you guys want to mention before you wrap up here?
Yeah, I think we should just call it.
I want to mention that, to be honest, if you haven't watched this movie, go watch it. It is, it may not be specifically important to the story, but it is a movie that you might enjoy, and that just having it there as a fresh relief from everything that we've been seeing, it's kind of nice.
And on a negative note,
No.
something I forgot to
No.
mention, please.
All right, give him the right. Give him the right.
Go for it. Go for it.
it kind of sucks if you think about it that our favorite scene out of that whole movie is the most rewritable part of the movie.
The more what?
The most rewritable part of the movie.
What scene?
If you put anything
The
out
death
like
of
the
Illuminati.
the Illuminati, if you put the entire
yeah.
Illuminati thing and put it to a different universe, who cares? We wouldn't have noticed. That's the most rewritable part of the movie, but that's the best part of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, I don't know what to say. I feel like that's also why I also give it like that 6 rating, because there's a lot that didn't need to be in this movie that could have helped elevate other things. Like, you really didn't need the Illuminati to be there.
Still got that up to fan service.
You could, yeah. But like, I enjoy that there's like some level of fan service. It's Marvel, you have to include something. I think I'm just more the way I realized about how like I think I'm still on like that Spider-Man thing where we got like spoiled rotten in that movie. So now like everyone's just like, I want to see Wolverine, I want to see Cyclops, I want to see Daredevil, Ben Affleck, I want to see Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider. It's like one of those things where it's just like you expect it to happen, and it's really not needed to make this movie good.
I mean, I'd argue against that because like they have all the rights to the properties. It's not like they can't do it or they can't.
Just
go
because you
beyond their
can
limits.
do it doesn't mean you should. If it means sacrificing a good story.
I mean, honestly,
they didn't really-
They could do it.
They didn't
in
really do a
Secret
great story to begin
Invasion.
with.
They could do it in Secret Invasion, so
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
Yeah, honestly,
Right now it's not cameo
this
central.
this isn't the movie to bring all these cameos out. Secret Wars is definitely the movie to bring everyone
Yeah,
into
if
like.
you title
but that is,
Secret
like,
Wars, hey
We're in
yo,
phase 4. That's at least phase 7 for the MCU. If we get that far.
To be
Exactly.
honest,
You know how long Phase 4 is?
Phase 4 is the
Phase 4
longest
is
phase in
until,
all
We're
of MCU.
1 year in Phase 4.
I think it's until Quantum Mania, isn't it? Like just around then.
Longer.
What goes up beyond that?
Well,
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
yeah,
I think.
I think that's the last project for Phase 4.
No, we don't even know either.
We don't
Yeah,
even
but
know.
that's
We don't even
Phase
know if this phase
4,
is
isn't it?
over after Guardians 3, because we still have
All they
Fantastic.
said was X-Men is apparently Phase 5.
Because we still have
Fantastic
Blade.
Four is probably Phase 4 too.
No, I think Fantastic Four is gonna wrap up Phase 4.
It
Which
could be,
would be-
yeah.
would-
that would be a
would
good way
fit
to
in.
end.
That would be a good way to end phase 4, but like it's still anywhere getting close to a Secret Wars storyline, we are so far from even establishing that. Like,
True.
if we wanted to establish this, it should have been this movie. Like, if you wanted to like start the Avengers initiative, kind of quote from Nick Fury, this was the movie to do it, and they didn't. They just said, "Hey, it exists."
Yeah,
Well, let's
but
They
move on.
wanted to remind you it's a
regardless-
Doctor Strange movie.
regardless, I think that this movie serves its purpose as Wanda story, whatever you want to call it. If you enjoy the movie, good. If you don't like it, then you got other stuff coming up into the future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching with us. We hope you all have a great rest of your day. And yeah, see you guys in the next video. Take care.
Have a good one.